Image prompt: a gritty urban skyline at dusk in downtown Chicago, with a young woman in a sharp business suit standing on a high-rise balcony, her face half-shadowed by the fading light, staring down at the chaotic streets below where luxury cars weave through traffic. Rain-slicked glass reflects her determined eyes and the distant silhouette of a sprawling family mansion, evoking a tense standoff between isolation and ambition in a realistic, cinematic style like a frame from a noir thriller. I never thought revenge would taste like aged bourbon and boardroom leather. But here I am, sipping it slow while the man who called himself my father squirms across the mahogany table. At 18, he didn't just kick me to the curb, he erased me, trading his troubled daughter for the polished twins he'd hidden in some suburban McMansion, the real family he'd built on lies and my mother's grave. And the worst part? I took the fall for his sins that night. The car crash that should have been his. The blood on the dash that was mine instead because I loved him enough to lie. But bodies break. Secrets don't. Mine shattered on that icy Illinois highway. And when I woke up, it wasn't in a hospital bed. It was in hers, Victoria Hales, the Ice Queen CEO whose empire Daddy Dearest had been bleeding dry from the shadows.
Swapped.
Stolen. Reborn.
Now.
I'm the one pulling strings, and his reckoning starts with a promotion he never saw coming. The fluorescent buzz of the ER was the last thing I remembered before the world flipped inside out. Not the screech of tires on black ice, or the jolt as the Escalade, Daddy's pride and joy, the one he'd lent me for my last hurrah before college, smashed into the guardrail. Not even the metallic tang of blood pooling in my mouth, or the way my ribs cracked like dry twigs under the dash.
No.
It was that hum, like a swarm of angry hornets in my skull, drowning out the paramedic shouts. I was Isabella Voss, 18 and invincible, or so I'd thought. Straight-A senior at Lincoln Park High, captain of the debate team, the girl who volunteered at the animal shelter because it made Mom's ghost smile from whatever corner of heaven she watched. Mom had died giving birth to me, complications, they said. But Daddy always whispered it was bad luck when he thought I couldn't hear. He was Victor Voss, king of Voss Industries, a conglomerate that gobbled up Chicago real estate like it was deep dish pizza. Boardrooms bowed to him, politicians pocketed his checks. To the world, he was the self-made titan who'd clawed from the South Side to a Gold Coast penthouse.
To me,
he was just Dad, until the night he decided I was expendable. It started with a phone call. I'd been driving back from a party in Wrigleyville, buzzed on cheap champagne but stone-cold sober behind the wheel. My phone lit up, unknown number. Isabella?
It's
Elena. Your father's wife.
Wife.
The word hit like a sucker punch. She sounded frantic, whispering about the boys and coming clean, about how Victor had promised to leave me behind for them, the twins, Alexander and Benjamin, 6 years old, and his real legacy.
Real.
As if I were the knockoff, the starter pack he'd outgrown. I confronted him that night, storming into his study reeking of cigar smoke and regret. Who the hell is Elena? Dad? And why does she think you're ditching me? His face crumpled, then hardened, like a man who'd rehearsed this scene in the mirror. You're not mine.
Izzy.
Not by blood. Your mother.
She lied.
Slept around while I built this.
Lies.
All of it. I saw the fear in his eyes, the flicker of something darker. But I didn't press. I begged. Please,
Dad.
don't do this. I'm your daughter. He threw the glass tumbler at the wall, shards exploding like my world. Get out. Before I make you. And he did make me. 24 hours later. Cops at the door with a restraining order, citing erratic behavior and threats. My bags hit the curb while his lawyer spun tales of my instability. The crash? That was the cherry on top. I'd swerved to miss a deer, but the talk screen falsified. I later learned, said DUI. Daddy's doing. To bury the Elena bombshell and paint me as the villain. I took the plea deal. Community service, probation, a record that killed my scholarships. Exiled to a roach motel in Pilsen, scraping by on waitressing gigs, while he paraded his real family at galas. Waking up wasn't waking. It was invasion. My eyelids fluttered to silk sheets and a view of Lake Michigan glittering like shattered diamonds. Hands, manicured, unfamiliar, reached up to touch my face. Smooth skin, high cheekbones, a jawline that could cut glass. I bolted upright, heart hammering, and caught my reflection in the vanity mirror. Victoria Hale. 42. Blonde Bob. The woman who'd built Hale Dynamics from a garage startup into a tech behemoth rivaling Voss Industries. Her empire, AI-driven surveillance, the kind that watched you sleep and sold your dreams. What the fuck? My voice, her voice, purred like velvet over gravel. Panic clawed my throat. This wasn't a dream. I was in her body, her penthouse, her life. And where was I? No, where was she? A quick Google on the bedside tablet. Victoria Hale. Reported missing after a private retreat in the Wisconsin Dells. Last seen boarding a private jet. Whispers of burnout. Or worse, suicide? But I knew better. This reeked of Victor Voss. He'd always hated her. Victoria had clawed market share from him, exposed his shady deals in congressional hearings. That bitch will bury us, he'd mutter over steak at Gibson's.
Now.
Here I was, wearing her skin.
How?
The crash. That deer wasn't a deer, it was a setup. Black SUV tailing me, forcing the swerve. And in the wreckage, something experimental, Victor's pet project. A black market neural swap tech he'd stolen from Hale Dynamics R&D. He'd meant it for her, to sabotage from inside. But fate, or karma, had other plans. The collision merged our transports, her jet going down miles away. My body mangled in the Escalade. Energies crossed.
Souls swapped.
Or whatever pseudoscience bullshit explained it. Isabella in Victoria's shell, paced the marble floors. Pulse thundering. Call the cops? They'd think me mad. Reach out to Dad? He'd gloat. Then erase me again.
No.
This was a gift. A second chance wrapped in Armani. I'd play the part, climb higher than he ever dreamed, and drag his empire into the dirt. Revenge. Served cold with a side of C-suite power. First things first, impersonate flawlessly. Victoria's assistant, Marcus, buzzed in at dawn, coffee in hand, tablet glowing. MS. Hale. The board's antsy about the Q4 projections. And that Voss merger proposal? It's DOA. I sipped the latte, channeling her frost. Tell them it's leverage, not lunch meat. And Voss? Bury it deeper. He blinked, then nodded, hook, line, sinker. By noon, I was in her office, glass walls overlooking the loop, deals worth billions humming like live wires. But doubts gnawed. What if she, my body, was out there, puppeteered by Victoria's ghost? A quick hack, Victoria's passwords were gold, into traffic cams, the Escalade towed. Body ID'd as Isabella Voss. DOA. Cremated already. Per family request. Victor's signature. He'd buried me twice. Rage boiled. But I swallowed it. Patience. I'd need allies. Enter Lena. Victoria's right hand in legal, sharp as a stiletto. From the same South Side grit as my old life. Over salads at the gauge. I probed. Ever wonder about Voss's skeletons? She leaned in, eyes narrowing. Honey, that man's got more closets than a hoarder. Embezzlement from his wife's trust before she died. And those twins? Not his first secret. Bingo. Elena had been a fair too. The real dirt was Mom's accident. Not natural. Victor's rage. A shove down the stairs, covered as a fall. I'd taken his abuse for years, bruises hidden under long sleeves, because family sticks. But he'd framed her death as fate, and me as the bastard child to boot. Lena didn't know the swap, but her words lit the fuse. He's coming for us. Vic. That merger? Trojan horse. I smiled Victoria's sharp grin. Then we got the horse. That night, alone in the penthouse whirlpool, I plotted. Step 1. Promote myself. Absurd? Victoria was already queen. No, unthinkable meant infiltrating his world. I'd greenlight a partnership, slide into Voss board meetings as ally, then twist the knife. Weeks blurred into power plays. I aced earnings calls, her muscle memory guiding my hands over keyboards, dictating emails that shredded competitors. Whispers spread, hails back, meaner than ever. My old life haunted in flashes, Pilsen's to Carius. Mom's locket now tucked in Victoria's safe. But I pushed on, building a war chest, dirt on Victor's offshore accounts, emails to Elena promising reconciliation to lure her in. The hook sank at the annual tech summit in Vegas. There he was, silver fox in a Zegna suit, arm around Elena, the twins scrubbed pink and awkward in mini tuxes. I approached as Victoria, flute in hand. Victor. Been too long. His eyes widened. Recognition?
No.
Just the thrill of conquest. Victoria. Heard you were. Under the weather. Smug bastard. We clinked glasses, his grip lingering. To new beginnings. That night, in my suite, I wept for the girl he'd discarded, for the mother he'd murdered. But tears dried to resolve. The swap was an accident. It was justice. And I'd wield it like a blade. Vegas heat clung like a bad hangover. But the real sweat broke on Victor's brow 2 months later, when Hale Dynamics reluctantly accepted his merger pitch. I'd orchestrated it flawlessly, leaked docs painting Voss as the White Knight saving us from a fictional cyber breach. Board ate it up. Victoria's board. Now mine to puppeteer. It's symbiotic, I purred in the presser, her lips curving just so. Voss brings the real estate backbone. We bring the brains. Cameras flashed. Victor beamed from the podium, oblivious to the cyanide in the champagne. Behind scenes, I burrowed deep. As Victoria, I demanded veto on key hires, slipping my ghosts in, Lena as compliance chief, a hacker kid from my waitressing days as IT shadow. We audited Voss's books, unearthing the rot. Millions siphoned to Elena's charity, a front for his mistresses. And the twins' trust? Funded by Mom's life insurance. The policy he'd cashed after her tragic slip. I'd found the coroner's report buried in city archives, bruises inconsistent with a fall, but hushed by Voss Cash. He'd killed her, pinned the illegitimate kid on her grave, then built his empire on the spoils. Controversy brewed early. My first decision, as merged co-CEO / Voss's legacy projects, those Southside rehabs he'd touted for PR. Inefficient, I declared in the all-hands, staring him down. We pivot to AI ethics, not vanity builds. Whispers rippled. Was Hale sabotaging? Victor cornered me post-meeting. Bourbon breath hot. What's your game? Vic, this merger was my idea. I leaned close, inhaling his cologne, same as the man who'd tucked me in as a kid. Games are for boys. Victor. This is chess. His laugh barked. Uneasy. Careful. Pawns get sacrificed.
Pawns.
That's what I was at 18, sacrificed for his real blood. Elena called that weak, voice syrupy over the line. The boys miss their father.
And
Isabella? Such a tragedy. Victor says she was troubled. Troubled. The word ignited me. I invited her to lunch at Alinea, molecular gastronomy, to match her faux sophistication. She arrived in pearls and pretense, cooing about family values while the spheres burst on her tongue. Victor's changed. You know. For us. I nodded. Victoria's poise masking Isabella's snarl. Tell me about the crash. Isabella's. Her fork paused.
oh,
Dreadful.
the UI. They said.
Victor was heartbroken. Heartbroken. Y presa, Anne. Enemies? She uncovered something. Elena's eyes darted. Guilt. Or greed. She was imagining things. Family drama. But I saw the crack. Later. Hacking her emails, Victoria's tech made it child's play. I found the payoff. 50 grand to a PI for falsifying the talks. Victor's script. And buried deeper. Mom's death certificate. Annotated with his notes. Handle Voss exposure. Insurance key. The rise accelerated. By quarter's end, I'd engineered the unthinkable promotion, myself, Victoria Hale Voss, now sole CEO of the merged behemoth. Voss Industries rebranded as Hale Voss Dynamics. Victor stepped back for health reasons, my planted health scare, anonymous tip to his doc about stress-induced anomalies. The board voted unanimous. Dazzled by my projections, billions in AI contracts, ethics audits that whitewashed our sins while exposing his. Press hailed it. Hale's coup, from rival to reign. He seethed in the shadows. Reduced to consultant, his Gold Coast fortress mortgaged to plug leaks. But power's a double-edged sword. Nights. I'd trace Victoria's scars, C-section from a daughter lost young. A secret she'd guarded like Fort Knox. Empathy crept in. Was I thief or twin soul? And the swap's mechanics haunted, neural echoes. Her memories bleeding through. Flashes of boardroom battles. A lover's betrayal, her own father. Selling her patents for scotch. We were mirrors. Broken by patriarchs. Controversial calls mounted. First, fire Victor's loyalists. The old guard who'd covered his kills. Diversity mandate. I spun. But it was purge. 1. A CFO named Harlan confronted me in the garage. You're not her. Hale wouldn't gut us like this. Heart stopped.
How?
The way you hold your pen off. And your eyes. Hungry, not cold. I laughed it off. But inside, terror. That night, I dosed his scotch, nothing lethal, just enough to retire him quietly. First blood on her hands. Debatable? Hell yes. Justice or just vengeance? Elena's next. I lured her with twins photos. Faked from stock, reconciliation retreat. She arrived at the Dell's cabin. Same spot Victoria vanished. Where's Victor? She whined, heels sinking in mud. I stepped from shadows. Victoria's silhouette. He's busy building empires. Like always. Her face paled as I laid it out. The payoffs. The lies. Mom's blood on his ledger. Join me, or join the footnotes. She spat. You're insane. Like that brat daughter of his. Insane. The hook twisted. I didn't touch her, just the recording app on my phone, capturing her confession. Victor made me sign the NDA. The crash. Insurance. Twist of the knife. Leak it anonymously to the Sun-Times. Voss heiress's fiery end. Foul play? Headline screamed. Victor called. Voice velvet over venom. Clever. Vic. But you'll regret this. Regret? I'd swallowed his for years. 18 birthdays of wait till you're older, then the boot.
No.
This was catharsis. The boys, Alex and Ben, humanized him. Or complicated. I watched from afar. Drones courtesy of Hale Tech. Identical. Towhead. Playing lacrosse in their manicured yard. Innocent pawns. But when Victor pulled them from school for safety, Elena cracked. Emailing me. Help. He's spiraling. Controversial decision to intervene. I posed as auntie. Victoria's gift, scholarships. Private tutors. Victor raged in a voicemail. Stay away from my family. His family. Not mine. Climax brewed in the boardroom. Q1 summit. I'd stacked the deck. Allies primed.
Docs damning.
Victor strode in, flanked by lawyers, demanding reversal. This woman's unhinged. Unhinged. The room tensed as I rose. Voice steady. Victor.
Sit.
Or shall we discuss Isabella Voss?
Gasps.
I projected the files. Mom's autopsy. Elena's wire. The swap tech, his stolen prototype. Logs tying him to both crashes. You killed my mother. Framed me. Stole Victoria's mind to cover it. Chaos. Accusations flew. Shares tanked in real time on the screens. He lunged. Face purple. Lies. You're not. But I cut him. Victoria?
No.
Isabella. Your daughter. The room froze. His eyes bulged, recognition dawning. Horror. The crash. It was you.
Yes.
And in that beat, the power shifted eternal. The boardroom detonation echoed through Chicago's canyons. Sirens wailing as if the city itself mourned the Voss facade. Victor slumped in his chair, a deposed king, while suits scrambled, phones glued to ears, barking to brokers and badges. Secure the premises, one yelled. But I was already ghosting toward the exit, Victoria's Louboutins clicking like a countdown. Lena grabbed my arm. Vic, Isabella, what now? Cops. Her eyes searched mine, piecing the impossible. I shook my head.
Not yet.
Let him stew. Stew he did. Feds swarmed his penthouse by dawn. Elena spilling like a punctured vein under soft lights and sympathy. He planned it all, the swap, to control Hale from inside. Isabella was collateral. Collateral. The word I'd etched on my soul at 18, when he swapped me for suits and secrets.
Now.
It boomeranged. I holed up in a safe house off Michigan Avenue, anonymous luxury, stocked with burner phones and bourbon. Victoria's echoes intensified, her triumphs. A pitch in Silicon Valley that sealed her first million, her fractures, the miscarriage that hollowed her laugh. We merged, souls stitching in the ether, Isabella's fire tempering Victoria's steel. Public fallout was biblical. CNBC looped the scandal. Voss empire crumbles. Body swap conspiracy? Pundits debated, tech gone mad, or murder most foul. Protests bloomed outside Hale Voss HQ. Justice for Isabella. Placards waved by kids who'd known me in high school. My exile mythologized. Victor's arrest aired live, cuffs snapping on wrists that once signed my report cards. No comment, he growled to cameras, but his eyes hunted, for me, the phantom daughter in dragon's clothing. Power's pinnacle brought vertigo. As interim CEO, board's emergency vote, unanimous in panic, I steered the ship through storms, asset freezes, shareholder suits. Unthinkable promotion indeed, from disowned teen to titan, wielding a fortune that dwarfed his. But controversy shadowed every decree. Decision 3. Dissolve the twins' trusts, redirecting to a foundation for abuse survivors, named for Mom. Tabloid screamed, Hale's grudge, orphaning innocents? Debatable as hell. Alex and Ben, collateral again? Or breaking the cycle? Elena fought it in court. Tears streaked on stands. She's a monster. Stole my husband's life.
Stole.
Irony dripped. Twists unraveled in layers. Interrogations leaked. Victor's confession. Partial. The tech, it was for leverage. Hale's prototype. Reverse engineered. The jet crash. Malfunction. But Isabella? I never meant. Lies. Half-baked. The real bomb dropped via Lena's contact in the DA. Blood work for Mom's fall. Not just bruises, fetal DNA mismatch. Victor wasn't my father. Mom's affair. Real, his rage. Imagined heirloom shattered. He'd killed her for a betrayal that mirrored his own with Elena. The secret he'd buried deepest. I was the bastard. But innocent. He'd framed me as such to justify the murder. The disowning, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mind fractured. Was revenge hollow? No, sharper. I'd risen not to spite him, but because. The swap. Fate's cruel joke. Forged me unbreakable. I visited him in Cook County lockup. Plexiglass between us like the walls he'd built. Izzy, he rasped, older in orange. My girl. Forgive. I pressed palm to glass. You threw me out for phantoms. Killed for pride. But here's the twist.
Dad, I'm not yours.
Never was. And Victoria? She's free, in my grave, at peace.
Lie?
Half. But his crumple? Priceless. I loved you, he whispered.
Loved.
Past tense. Like trash. Outside. Rain lashed the L tracks, mirroring my storm. Controversial decision 4. Testify. Not as victim, but avenger. Courtroom packed, reporters. Elena glaring daggers. The twins absent but represented by guardians. I took the stand in Victoria's armor. Victor Voss didn't just betray a daughter. He weaponized science to erase us. I woke in this body, carrying his sins and mine. But I choose truth. Gasps rippled. Judge banged gavel. Victor's team spun. Delusional. The swap's fiction. But evidence mounted tech logs. Elena's pleas. Verdict loomed. But the real climax brewed elsewhere. Victoria's ghost rebelled. Nightmares bled. Her voice in my head. This isn't you. Give it back. Echoes of her life, betrayed by her own dad, who'd sold her out for a competitor's buyout.
Parallelsturm.
Was I perpetuating the poison? Sleepless. I dug deeper. The swap's origin. Victor hadn't stolen it alone. A partner, Senator Harlan Graves. The consultant I'd dosed. Harlan, architect of the tech, now in hospice from my gift. His deathbed ramblings. Smuggled via nurse. Voss wanted Hale's mind in a shell. Test on the girl, disposable. But the crash synced wrong. Energies crossed. Disposable. The word echoed as I plotted the peak. With Victor awaiting trial, I convened a shadow board, loyalists only. We expose it all, I declared. The tech. The murders. Burn it down to build clean. Dissent flared. Suicide.
Vic.
Voss wins.
No.
This was the revenge apex. Dismantle the empires. Both his and hers. Philanthropy pivot. Fund AI safeguards. Victim reparations. Shares plummeted. I bought low with offshore slush. Irony's wink. Public devoured the pivot. Hale's redemption, from cutthroat to crusader. But Elena struck back. Kidnapped the twins, desperate bid for leverage. Ransom call, your testimony. Or they swim with weights in the lake. Heart seized. Controversial? Kidnap response? I went rogue. Tracked her to an abandoned warehouse in Gary, Indiana, Rust Belt relic. Ghosts of steel mills moaning. No cops. Lena tailed discreet. Inside. Elena paced. Boys bound and gagged. Eyes wide as saucers. End this. Isabella, or whatever you are. I stepped from dark. It's over. Elena. Release them. She swung a pistol, shaky. Suburban mom gone feral. You stole everything. Victor's mine.
Mine.
The echo chamber of betrayals. Boys whimpered, Alex. The boulder. Spitting duct tape. Let's go. Lady. Lady. Not ant. Not monster. In that beat. Decision crystallized. Mercy. Or mirror his sins. I lunged not for her, but the gun. Struggle blurred. Victoria's yoga strength versus her Pilates frailty. Shot cracked. Grazing her shoulder. Blood bloomed. Warm and real. Elena crumpled. Sobbing. He made me. The crash. The lies, all him. Cops swarmed post-melee. Boys safe. Her arrested. But the wound festered, literal. Then metaphorical. Hospital gown itched as feds grilled. Body swap? Explain. I spun partial truth. Trauma delusion. But the evidence stands. They bought it. Chalking to stress. Victor's trial fast-tracked. My testimony the hammer. Trial week scorched Chicago summer into ash. Courthouses mobbed like Black Friday sales, reporters elbowing for soundbites. Protesters chanting, justice for the swapped. Victor's defense painted him saint, philanthropist felled by a deranged rival.
Me?
The witch in witness box. Victoria's poise cracking under cross-exam. MS. Hale, his shark lawyer sneered. You claim soul theft? Or is this corporate theater? Laughter rippled. I leaned my close. Call it resurrection. Victor killed Isabella Voss, my body, my life, to hide his crimes. Mom's murder. The falsified crash. The tech he twisted. Ask Elena. Cut to her. Sniffling an orange, he confessed.
To me.
To spare the boys. Jury deliberated 3 days, eternity in purgatory. I paced the safe house. Shoulder-stitched but soul raw. Victoria's memories surged, her father's betrayal, auctioning her dreams for debt relief. We're the same, her echo whispered. Haunted daughters. The twist inverted everything. The swap hadn't just armed me. It healed. Isabella's grit fueled Victoria's empire. Her precision sharpened my rage. Fusion. Not theft. Victor's greatest sin? Creating a monster stronger than him. Verdict dropped like thunder. Guilty. Murder won, Mom. Manslaughter, the crashes, mine and Victoria's jet. Fraud. Conspiracy. Life. No parole. He stood, unbowed. This isn't over. Izzy.
But it was.
As marshals led him, our eyes locked, father to daughter. One last time. No tears. Just the weight of truths upended. I wasn't his blood, but his mirror. The bastard he'd made. Risen to dethrone. Fallout reshaped skylines. Hail Voss dissolved into Voss Legacy Fund. Irony's bow. Redirecting billions to women's shelters. AI ethics labs. South Side startups. I retired. Victoria's shell at 43. Faking a yacht accident off Mackinac. Poetic. Water washing sins. New life. Isabella Voss reborn. Face altered in a discreet Swiss clinic. Identity laundered through Lena's networks. Now, consultant in Seattle. Rain-slick streets echoing Pilsen's pulse. The boys? I fund their futures anonymously. College. Therapy. Elena? House arrest. Writing memoirs that absolve her. Blame him. Debatable endings. Villain redeemed. Or enabler excused. Critics howl. Was my purge justice or purge? The dosed rivals. The trust raid. Tyranny in feminist drag. Pundits podcast. Hale's revenge birthed a better world. Or just another oligarch. I sip bourbon on a ferry to Bainbridge. Waves chopping like unanswered questions. Happy? Tragic?
Both.
Victor taught betrayal. The swap taught power's price. Mom's locket, retrieved from evidence, dangles against my new skin. For the real family, I whisper. The one I built from ashes. But late nights, doubts whisper. What if Victoria stirs in my old grave? Does she curse the thief? Or cheer the avenger? The truth reverses again. Maybe she orchestrated it. Neural will bending fate. Or perhaps it's simpler. Karma's glitch. Glitching back. Either way, I rose unthinkable from curb to crown, disowned to destroyer. And if the mirror shows 2 faces, I'll wear them both.
Proud.
Unbroken. In the end, revenge isn't sweet, it's necessary. Like deep dish after famine, messy. Indulgent.
Gone too soon.
Victor rots in Supermax. Penning appeals to ghosts. I live, authoring my own. Chicago fades in rear view, but its grit pulses in veins, mine. Hers.
Ours.
The real legacy? Not blood. It's the fire that forges from betrayal's forge.